Hello everyone, it is Primes Prime, back at it again for another Transformers action figure video, and today we're going to be looking at one of my most anticipated Age of the Primes figures of the whole wave, Onyx Prime. And now with the aura farming out of the way, first off there's some nice images of Onyx right there. It says Transformers Age of the Primes Onyx Prime. Here on the side, just got images of the Primes, and here on this side, we got a nice image of him in his Griffin form, and it says Age of the Primes. Here on the back, got some product images and stuff we'll be going over throughout the video.
Authentic Transformers.
NANI?! お前はもう死んでいる。
And now getting into Onyx Prime's accessories here, he has 3 accessories. First of all, he does have these 2, which combine into the spear, obviously. And that has some pretty nice painted details and everything on it. It looks pretty good in his hands. And then we also have this black thing, which is a fantastic toothpick, by the way. But in seriousness, though, it actually is, you fold it open to form into a bow for him to use, so he can use the staff as an arrow. And then to get that to tab in, to fit in his hand, there's a tab that goes into his fingers right there, and that looks very badass. But I can't help but feel a little bit of deja vu here for some reason. A Transformer who's a Griffin who also has an arrow. Now keep in mind, even though I have been singing this figure's praises for the past couple minutes, that doesn't mean he's perfect. However, something I do appreciate on this figure is the head sculpt. He has that silver paint, he has the nice red eyes, but what I also appreciate about this head sculpt is you can give him a battle mask, a feature that we don't get to see very often anymore on special figures, which again makes it feel very worth it for this guy's leader class price point. Which I can easily say applies to the rest of the body as well, because again, it really makes it feel like that leader class budget is really going into the figure as a whole, which is really nice, especially considering leader class figures are like, what, $1 trillion now? And this guy's got some very nice extra details on the chest with a lot of metallic silver and gold throughout the entire thing, almost giving this guy a very pristine kind of finish. And then I also really love some of the beastly kind of, hair and like all the extra little like animalistic details, and that fade from gold to brown is really nice as well with those highlights. And again, some nice mechanical detail just highlighting this guy everywhere, mixed in with all that beastly kind of detail everywhere as well. And he does have a loincloth. And then he's got his hips right there with some silver there on the knee pads, and then he's got some extra bits of gold right there. And then he also has hooves for feet. I know there is someone out there who's into that. And yeah, just overall, really great mechanical detail everywhere, all across the hands, the arms, the head, the torso, and then even here on the back. The Beast Mode head is the only bit of kibble on this entire figure, but at least everything else on him looks pretty well, except for that ass flap. That is pretty ass. And then also, there's that little hole back there, which you can take this accessory and you can stick it up his ass, and that just solidifies his look as a furry. Which, by the way, background context for Onyx Prime here, if you're not familiar with this character. Essentially, he is the demigod of all beast form Transformers, so like Beast Wars characters and stuff like that, animal form characters, which essentially means this guy is a demigod of furries.
You can't keep getting away with it!
And going back to those details and extra features I was mentioning about, the stuff that makes him feel worth the leader class price.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
Basically, they made this guy a triple changer. I know, that was very quick. But yeah, here he is, and this is Onyx Prime in his Centaur mode, which is how he was interpreted in the Covenant of Primus book artwork. And then going over the articulation here, so he has some extra articulation in this mode. Basically, he has more clearance for the shoulders so they can rotate more, and then he also gets these really nice butterfly joints as well. Very good for posing. And then the horse legs themselves just rotate up and back. They can move out to the side. There's a thigh swivel, and then they have double hinge joints and then a hinge at the hoof as well. Wait, if this guy's got horse legs, does that mean he has a horse cock? And yeah, I love this thing. This is a really fun extra mode. And now getting into articulation for Onyx Prime, he's got a nice ball joint at the head, which allows for his head to swivel left and right, and he can look pretty far up, not really much down, wish he could look down more. And then he does have shoulder rotation, which is slightly hindered, but it's all right. He's also got shoulder pads, which can also move out of the way. His arms can move in and out. He does also have a bicep swivel, though the bicep swivel does tend to be kind of problematic, especially on the left side, or right side, I mean. And yep, there it goes. And then he also has an elbow bend, and then he's got the wrist swivel, opening hands, which is very nice, again, for that extra liter price point. And then he does also have the wings, which do have a lot of articulation as well. They can flap up and down. They do also have a hinge joint here in the middle where they kind of move forward and back. They've also got one here that allows them to splay open a lot farther. And that looks pretty nice as well. Really makes his wingspan look very large. And then he does also have a waist swivel. The only problem is the loincloth gets in the way. I am so sick of this freaking loincloth design because this guy is not the only Prime to have this problem, and I'm tired of this being a trend. Anyway, he does also have hip joints as well. The hips can rotate forward and back. They can move out to the side, though it is very loose, by the way. I cannot tell you how many times I've been trying to pose this guy around and take pictures, and then his hip keeps on giving away and he keeps on falling over. It is so frustrating. Anyway, last but not least, he has double hinge joints here in the knees, one in the front, one in the back, kind of, like that chicken leg look. He also has the ankles, which can pivot, very nice, and there's a bit of a heel spur back there as well. And now for comparisons, here is Onyx Prime compared next to Optimus Prime, the 86 Commander. And then here he is compared with all of the other Primes who I have reviewed so far. If you want to check out those reviews, I'll leave a little link in the card on the top right corner there. And then here he is compared to that other guy I was talking about earlier. And yes, this is me flexing on you how much more broke I am. Anywho, with that out of the way, let's now get into Onyx Prime's transformation into his beast mode. And here's now taking a look at Onyx Prime's beast mode, which looks really cool, but apparently this is supposed to be a griffin?
10 billion points for Griffin Puff!
And now taking an up-close look at this griffin form here for Onyx Prime. I actually quite like the head sculpt. It's a little bit more mechanical looking rather than, more animalistic, like realistic looking, kind of like how Beast Wars figures are. And actually, the aesthetic of this figure, and counting the wings and the design, actually reminds me a whole lot of like Transformers Prime, like Predaking, where it's the more mechanical beast forms. Which, speaking of Hasbro, please make a brand new Predaking figure. I'm begging you. So, like, yeah, the head is cool and all, but the weirdest part is, in the instructions, they have you give the griffin form 6 legs? I mean, sure, I guess. I guess that makes it faster, stronger, but theoretically, you can actually configure this to where you could just have it as a 4-legged griffin as well, if that's something you prefer. But yeah, I really like all the details on this thing, and honestly, there's nothing much new to really talk about. It's just got the same bits of mechanical detail we've kind of been looking at throughout the review. It's just, it's been redistributed and moved into different areas, though I do want to highlight the articulation for it. As you guys kind of saw earlier, it's got a ball joint at the head, which allows for the head to look left and right, look up and down, and swivel. It also has a opening jaw from doing those nice roars. And then, of course, this bit likes to untab, so I guess you could use that to get more up, but that doesn't count. And then, arms move up and down, bicep swivel, elbow, everything else here is exactly the same as how we looked in the Centaur mode and robot mode. And again, same thing with the wings, and like literally this is the only new bit of articulation on this Griffin form. Also, one last thing I forgot to mention, if you want to have some weapon storage for the spear in beast mode, it does simply just tab in on this wing back here, and you can make it like on his back, but it's not the most elegant thing, but it is an option. And now getting into comparisons, here he is with 86 Optimus Prime. And then here he is compared next to all of the other Primes in their Cybertronian alternate modes. And then just to flex on you guys that little bit further, here he is compared next to the Death Chicken. And that is basically it for my review on the Age of the Primes leader class Onyx Prime. I really like this guy, but like I said, he is not perfect, sadly. Like, yes, he is very big, he's nice and chunky, he has a lot of play features and a lot of extra bells and whistles going for him. But the problem with this figure is his quality control problems hold him back severely. The shoulder problem with the whole, or not shoulders, what I mean, the bicep swivels on right above his elbows constantly keeps swiveling off. Thankfully, mine is not as bad as some people's is, and trust me, I've had some pretty bad bicep swivels swivel off almost all the time. This guy's doesn't swivel off as often, but it is annoying sometimes. The main problem with this guy is his hip joints. The hips rotating forward, back, and out to the side are all too loose. They needed to be either ratchet joints, or they needed to be, I don't know, modified in some way to where they're tighter. I'm going to have to go in and modify it myself and tighten those up. Like, thankfully, that at least has a fix and a solution, where the bicep swivels, I don't quite know, like, what the meta is for those. I'm not entirely sure what's the fix for mushroom pegs, which, if anyone knows, leave it in the comments, because I actually have a few mushroom pegs aside from this guy that actually need to get fixed on other figures, so I would appreciate that if anyone knows. But anyway, that is basically it for this review. If I had to give this guy a rating, again with articulation and detail and everything all in consideration, I give this guy a very solid 9 out of 10. It's like, I really want to give this guy the 10 out of 10, but I just can't give it to him because those QC problems with this guy really hold it back. I love how creative this character is and how creative the alternate modes are and the different transformations, and again, they're just complicated enough that it's really cool, but also simple enough that it's also like really quick to do it on the fly, and just, I really like him. It's just, I just can't give him the 10. I just can't do it, even though I like him a lot. That's basically it for this review. If you guys liked it, give me a like on the video, comment below what you guys think, subscribe to the channel for more Transformers and action figure content, and I will catch you guys next time.